I got to admit, I feel a little bit better today. Yesterday, I was angry. I was upset. And I think I let it cloud my judgment on what a great season the Cleveland Browns actually had, right? I was maybe a little unfair to Greg Newsome. I feel bad about that.
No, don't. Do not feel bad about that.
I mean, I hate doing that. I was angry. I was upset, okay? It was to a point where he kind of became a lightning rod a little bit about just my overall anger for the Cleveland Browns. But in the grand scheme of things, there's a lot to be positive about when it comes to the Browns. And with that in mind, I think we need this today. Ryan, we are going to do the Browns list of positivity. I sent the tweet out already yesterday. We'll send it out again this morning. And we are going to ask everybody to compile a list that we will send out for everybody else. Maybe some people need this printed. You can put it in the office if you need it. A Browns list of positivity as we get ready for the offseason. We'll get to that coming up. We got our 2 for Tuesday. Cavs with a nice one last night. We're circling it again. 2 out of 3 on our boost from Tipico. Close, but we'll get to that a little bit later as well. We got you locked and loaded right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Good morning. A little delay. Hopefully, I'm glad Ryan made it in safe. Be careful out there. Cleveland, man, we get snow. Sometimes people don't know how to drive in that. You don't want to know what it is for, and I know everybody out there, hopefully you're safe at work, or you can work from home, and you're tuning in, and you're warm, and you don't got to mess with it. It's the one person that drives like it isn't snowing and icy out there. It's 11 degrees. There's ice. And they're in their car, and I don't want to car shame anybody, but it's usually a certain brand of car. Past 3 of them this morning of people trying to think that they can cut in and out of whatever. Stay safe out there. We're a little late. That's all right. We're going to get it rocking right here on the show. We got a lot to get to this morning. A lot of Browns. We're going to do the list of positivity today. And I already got good responses, and I'll take any and all of them. This is an open forum for the list of positivity for the Cleveland Browns. At Ryan Tyler 33, at Matt Fontana 83. Show is at Matt Fontana Show. It could be the smallest little things. I got a tweet about the white jerseys looked good this year. It's literally, it's all encompassing. And this is what I'm going to do. I have a fresh page up. Number 1, white jerseys looked good. And we're just going to do a giant list. And I'll send it to Ryan after the show. And we'll tweet it out. And it's going to be our list of positivity today. I'm talking about the smallest little things. The smallest things, whatever it was, to be positive about the Cleveland Browns moving forward. We're going to do that list today. We'll get to that. A lot of craziness with the coaching searches, and thankfully we do not even have to entertain that, but you still got to watch. You still got to watch. We are going to play the Mike Tomlin clip a little bit later in the show. Ryan, I'll put that on you to pull that up. We'll do the Mike Tomlin clip coming up on 9:30. He's angry. He's upset. And that's all impact on the Cleveland Browns, where Belichick goes, where Vrabel goes, where Harbaugh goes. So we'll keep an eye on all the coaching circles. Yes, Baker Mayfield won a playoff game yesterday. Boy, was I wrong about the Eagles. Holy cow. And congratulations this morning goes out to Jason Kelce. Reportedly, he's going to announce his retirement. He will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. That is a Clevelander who will be joined by his brother in Canton one day. Two brothers from Cleveland. One's going to marry Taylor Swift. The other one already has a lovely wife and a great family, and they're both going down in Canton Hall of Fame. Congratulations to the Kelces. Jason reportedly announcing his retirement, so we'll get to that a little bit later as well. And I do have some more things with the Browns. You said I was wrong for... I called out Greg Newsome yesterday.
That's fine.
And I got a lot of traction.
He played like shit.
He sent a tweet about it, not about us specifically. I think the thing about Greg Newsome that bothered me yesterday was when he admitted that they did not play well and they didn't have very much for the Houston Texans. But when you come out with the, I thought I played okay, it starts to get to an individualistic idea, and you don't want that in a team sport. And I don't know what the future holds for Greg Newsome here. I don't really, I kind of felt bad about it. I did. I'd imagine there's a future he's not here playing for the Cleveland Browns. But It is what it is. It is what it is. It also is a 2 for Tuesday. So we're going to start it like this, and you could put this in the tweet if you want it. Because our first question is going to be, do you have a positive outlook on the future of the Cleveland Browns? That is a simple yes or no question. And then if you want to put in there, Ryan, that we are going to do the list of positivity this morning and send us the reasons you're positive. Because we're going to compile this giant long list, and it's going to be quick fire. It's going to be rapid. I'm going to get into the ones that we've already had tweeted at us. I've got a couple. Ryan's got a couple. So our first question on our 2 for Tuesday, always 2 questions, 2 answers. Do you have a positive outlook on the future of the Cleveland Browns? I'd imagine that this is a very overwhelming yes. There's a lot of reasons to be positive. I'm going to put this right down now. Kevin Stefanski is a reason for positivity. There's a reason that Kevin Stefanski, you should feel good about him being the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. And I know when you look across the landscape and you see all these other coaches that are becoming available or making this move here and making that move there, I, for one, really enjoy that we don't have to enter that. You know, the Browns off seasons for a long time have been searching for a coach and GM and then gearing up for the draft with mock drafts, and I'm watching private workouts and Hugh Jackson squirting footballs for guys to throw around because they want to simulate if the ball was wet, and the Carson Wentz workout where everybody got snowed in and the only people that made it there were Pep Hamilton and Hugh Jackson. Oh, what a time of the past. Do you know about that Carson Wentz workout?
No.
So when he was available and the Browns were in a position to draft him, he was having his workout at, was he North Dakota? He was North Dakota, right?
Yeah.
And he was doing his workout there. A massive snowstorm hits. All these teams can't fly in. There was one team that made it there, Ryan. The Cleveland Browns.
Nice.
Hugh Jackson and former offensive coordinator Pep Hamilton went to Michigan, I think, after that. They made it out there to watch Carson Wentz work out. So that's usually where the offseason is at. And I tell you, I love the draft. I will never shy away from saying I love the draft. I love the watching of the tape. I don't dive into it like the Dane Bruglers or the Matt Miller of the world, but I read those guys, and I get excited about adding pieces to my team. It's one of the things I just love. I'll always love the draft. Even without a first-round pick, it's something that I love. I will tell you one thing that I don't love, Ryan, and that is searching for a head coach. That is one thing that we've had to do over and over and over again, and I hate it. That process sucks. And we've run the gambit. We have had the top guy. Don't forget, Hugh Jackson was the #1 coaching hire that offseason. For however bad it went, for however, you don't forget, everybody wanted him. And the story goes, he was going to get on a plane and go sign with the New York Giants. And the Haslam stepped up and they said, you're not getting on that plane without a contract. And they gave him one.
Matt, it's like that one scene in Interstellar when he's trying to like tell himself through the window.
Yeah, he's like, don't do it. No!
Let you get on the plane.
No! Doc Brown, oh, what do you want to do, Marty? Go back and stop the Cleveland Browns from doing that. It's your kids, Marty. We got to do something about your kid.
I'm going to make that meme.
It's your head coach. Jimmy, we got to do something about your head coach.
I'm going to make that meme later.
What?
Jimmy Haslam, like, telling himself, let him get on the plane.
No. So that's another reason why I'm so happy that we don't have to entertain this. And I know that the Browns coaching staff might have some changes. You might lose a guy here or there. There might be firings. But the fact that you don't have to enter this pool. And the other thing, Ryan, it is becoming more competitive by the day. Is Mike Tomlin really going to sit out a year now?
Absolutely.
Mike, they don't deserve you in Pittsburgh. Leave. Go ahead and leave.
I think they should sign Josh McDaniels.
Sure. Absolutely. 100%. Matt Patricia might be available. Go get him going. Go get him fired up there. It's Bill O'Brien up there. Any other former failed Belichick disciples there?
Joe Judge is available.
He is very much available. Sure, go get him. I mean, the entering that pool when you need to. I'm not saying that Brandon Staley deserved to keep his job, right? We know Josh McDaniels sucked. But the fact that you were even having it, dude, it's a dogfight right now. It's a dogfight of interviewing these guys and courting these guys. Now, some are like Belichick. What did he do yesterday? He met with the Falcons, and that seems to be a match made in heaven. He can go down there to Atlanta, try to chase down Shula. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's two levels. It's number one, I believe in Kevin Stefanski. He's on our list. He's high on our list of Browns positivity this morning. So I'm a believer in Kevin Stefanski. But also, you roll the dice. It could be the top guy like Hugh Jackson and still go bad. Is there any guarantee that hiring Jim Harbaugh is going to get you back to an AFC championship game if you're the LA Chargers? No. But he's just better than what you had, right? You don't have to worry about that. I want to put Kevin Stefanski, I'm putting a note underneath it, not having to enter the coaching search. Because as positive as I am on Kevin Stefanski, my favorite thing is we don't got to mess with this right now. You don't got to mess with this. You don't got to open up the checkbook and try to get this person to come in here and mess with it. And the other thing, you can then now focus on the team. And you got a long offseason. You have a lot of time that we're going to figure out what you got in Cedric Tillman and talk about the offense. And they're sitting down breaking down tape and getting ready for the draft. You can now focus on that. You don't have to worry about conducting coaching interviews and flying all across the country to meet with these people. You are solely focused on fixing the Cleveland Browns. And they're broken from the standpoint you didn't win the championship. Any team that didn't win, you're going to review and say what went wrong. But overall, and back to our Twitter question this morning, I feel like the positive outlook, it's bright. The future is very bright for the Cleveland Browns. Another area of positivity, the core group of players on this team. There are teams that would kill to have the group of players, the core guys. And I'm talking about the top 10. Yes, you fill your roster out with 50 and 60 odd some guys, and there's important guys making, reps. You see, by the way, that Matthew Adams got votes for the All-Pro for special teamer?
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him. Of course, Myles Garrett, the only one they made. I think Dwight Teller got snubbed. Absolutely snubbed from the All-Pro. But that's another conversation for another day. There's important guys on the bottom of the roster. I'm not saying there's not. But if I'm gonna give you 10 players right now on the Cleveland Browns, Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett, Bitonio, Teller, Njoku, Amari Cooper. Did I say Denzel Ward?
No.
Denzel Ward. Grant Delpit.
DeJuan
Jones. Like, you want to get to even Jerome Ford. I'm talking about the MJ. I'm talking like that group, that core group of 10, which are pretty much all under contract. I did not put Deshaun Watson in there. That's a remiss. Deshaun Watson. There are teams that would love to have that core, to have that group of players. And they are spread around. They're not all at one position. You're not heavy at one. There's still things that you need to do. Ryan, the core group of players on this team is one of the better ones. I'd imagine we get this always in the offseason, right? And I'll wait to do this article. The ranking of the core group of guys. The Browns will be a top 10 team. There's no way that they can't be, especially with all these guys being signed up. So I'll look at the core group of players on this. Let's go to the Twitter inbox. We're doing our list of positivity for the Cleveland Browns this morning. I want any and all things that you felt good about with this team moving forward. Sorry, I had a lot of tweets about them yesterday. People in the room with Mike Evans. I'd love Mike Evans to be here. That'd be fantastic. Sorry, people got in our boost yesterday, which is great. All right, RF on Twitter. Kicking Dustin Hopkins. List of positivity. Dustin Hopkins. What's else? Arcade. David Bell.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Outside of the playoff game, did David Bell really do anything this season?
Oh, Pat has a great one. Jim Donovan. Jim Donovan coming back. That was a great. That's a reason for positivity. We all love Jim. The Watson snark is heavy in the Twitter inbox about that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Dude, that's the thing. Again, the list of positivity. He can be a really good quarterback. He can be. I was going to try to avoid this conversation as much as I could. With watching what Baker Mayfield did yesterday, I very famously, Ryan, there was a clip that people ripped me for a couple of years ago when I said the Browns could win a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield. Now, He won a playoff game yesterday against what now we know is a fake, phony, horrible football team in the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not trying to say that I was right on all that. But you realize Kevin Stefanski can get the most out of his quarterbacks. You would say that with Baker Mayfield, who had a good year, but he had a really good year with Kevin Stefanski in 2020. Got that out of Joe Flacco, even got that out of Jacoby Brissett for a good chunk of the year last year. I have belief that you can get Deshaun Watson back to a level of serviceable. And the thing is, people will always look at it and say, well, he's paid $230 million. I can't just have serviceable. At the point of, if you win a Super Bowl, I don't care what his contract was. And I don't care what stats he did or didn't put up. As long as he is contributing to a way, like the sliding scale is what I'm getting at here. Yeah. Do you want him to be up there with Lamar Jackson and Mahomes and all these other guys? Sure. But if he's not, but you still go win the Super Bowl, I don't care. I don't care. So I look at it to say, just give me that level. It doesn't have to be top 5 quarterback. You give me to a top 10 level from Deshaun Watson, and you would feel good about going to win a championship. That's all you need out of him. You've seen it now with other guys. So the pressure for this season coming up on Watson is immense. It's a lot. We know that. But I also don't need him to go record-breaking level. Just play to that serviceable level. There will be people, I'll never forgive the contract. They'll never forgive what he did. And I'm not saying you're wrong for that. That's fine. And there will always be the anti-Watson crew here because they just don't want him to play quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. I got some bad news for you. He is going to play quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, at least for this season. Beyond that, I don't know. That's another huge part of this whole season coming up is the contract and where you sit with him and how they approach all this. But still, there's positivity to be said. I guess I'm like, I've had a recalibration of what I need from the quarterback. It kind of goes back again to watching Baker yesterday. I don't need a world burner. I don't need a guy. It'd be nice to have Patrick Mahomes. It'd be nice to have Lamar Jackson. But if you don't, you're still in it. Jordan Love is still in the playoffs right now. Baker Mayfield is still in the playoffs right now. Are they going to go win the championship? I don't know. But that level is not quite to where I thought it would need to be. So I think that's a little bit of a level of positivity from. I'm not going to put it on the list, but you get where I'm coming from. Young players. I'm going to put this as a big one. List of positivity for the Cleveland Browns this morning. Ronnie Hickman, DeJuan Jones, young guys.
How young are we talking? Like Jock?
I put him in his own. I think JOK deserves his own level on here. So I put him on his own. But like, you found Ronnie Hickman, you found DeJuan Jones. You put Ced Tillman on there? No. I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
All right, at the very least, Ronnie Hickman and DeJuan Jones.
Yeah.
Those are some young guys that you feel good about, right?
I like Jerome Ford. I'd put him
All right, I put Jerome Ford in there too. You found some young players on this team that help get it done. Another list of positivity for me. The offensive line will return. You are going to get these guys healthy. I know there's a decision to be made about what you're going to do with Jed Wills or Jack Conklin and DeJuan Jones going to start. But I feel good even just on how Bill Callahan, the wizard that he is, was able to piece things together this season with a bunch of backups and play to a serviceable level. Offensive line, I still think, Ryan, is your best group on the team. I think that is the best group on the team. Do you put Andrew Berry on this list? List of positivity for the Browns. Do you feel positive about Andrew Berry and the decisions that he has made this year?
Yeah, why wouldn't I?
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he did sign Joe Flacco, which was great. Had some, I think GMs, it's always, again, a grade, and it's always an ever-evolving thing. Anything else, Ryan? And again, this is just a small list that we are starting here today. We'll take everybody's tweets in the Twitter inbox, at Matt Fontana Show, at Matt Fontana 83, at Ryan Tyler 33. Your list of positivity this morning. Something, it could be in it. White jerseys. Jim Donovan came back.
I'd say a big one is, and it's kind of a cliche, but I think we'd agree that it seemed more than ever that this was developed that hasn't been there prior, and that's culture.
Culture. That's a big one. I'm going to actually put that to near top of the list there. You established a culture this year. You established a culture for this football team to overcome all the adversity that they did, to overcome the injuries that they did. It's kind of a positive level. There's no way that we will ever have this injured of a season next year. There's a level of positivity to that. There is no way that this team will ever see the level of injury that they had to face this year and come out the other side.
I don't know if you already put it on there, but let's not get it twisted. Going to the playoffs is a hell of a positive.
I mean, that's going to the playoffs.
I don't care what team you are. It is hard to get to the playoffs in the NFL.
Oh, I got another one. Home field advantage. That was clear and obvious. Even statistically, and I know that's kind of maybe what faulted us there in the playoffs, but the fact that you have, without a doubt, a bona fide home field advantage. It's loud. People don't want to play here. That rolls over. I know the fan, and that's kind of to the fans, too. I know everybody out there is ready to go for next year, too. Home field advantage. You created that
it was the
this year.
Best home record in the AFC.
Yeah. Right. There you go. Best home record in the AFC. Would you say winning against the division? You beat Baltimore? You beat everybody in the division, right? Beat them once?
Yeah.
Beat them once?
Yeah.
So you beat everybody in the division once. There you go. A list of positivity. It seems like everybody else is kind of falling apart over there. I guess that could be a level.
I mean, the Bengals.
That could be a level.
Bengals went, what? 1-5 in the division this year, I believe.
Something like that. Yeah. So not really all that great. So again, Twitter inbox is open. Our first 2 for Tuesday is up at Matt Fontana Show. We're asking everybody for your list of positivity this morning. The list of positivity for the Cleveland Browns. We'll continue that list. We're going to send it out later so everybody can see it and everybody can add what they want. And our Twitter question is up. But as always, a 2 for Tuesday has a second question. Do you ski or snowboard? 'Tis the season. I was in ski club when I was a kid. Rented all the gear. My best friend growing up, he really got into snowboarding. So I was the benefactor of, I would go with them all the time. So I snowboarded for a little bit. I was never really that good to be. I don't think that shocks anybody. I'm semi-coordinated, but snowboarding is not my thing. Like all the hobbies that I have, I guess people pick up skiing and snowboarding because like, oh, what are you gonna do in the winter? I'll sit at home and make chili and watch TV. That's what I'm gonna do. So I do not ski or snowboard. But the question is, our second 2 for Tuesday, do you ski or snowboard? Right.
I don't. Are we wording this question as yes, you ski or snowboard, or no, you don't do either? Or
yeah,
do you...
right. Like, do you ski or snowboard? Yes or no?
Okay.
I'm curious to see the poll here in Cleveland.
For me, it's no. I don't do either.
I have family members that are very uber into it. My brother-in-law went on a hella ski trip. Not
a hella ski
Not
trip?
like it was a hella ski trip. No, a heli ski trip where you get on a helicopter with your skis and they fly you up to the top of the mountain and you ski down. That's insane to me. And I know we have Boston Mills and Brandywine, and I wouldn't say Ohio. Obviously, Ohio's not a mecca. You can go to New York, or people go out to like Denver, Colorado, all that kind of stuff. I get it, but it's just not my thing. That is one thing. As we grow up with our kids, I'm sure I'm going to take them sledding down a hill and tobogganing and all that kind of stuff. Not my thing. Not my thing. I respect people. I get it. It's a great hobby. I understand it. I am definitely not a skier or a snowboarder. Ryan, did you do either growing up, or you just have never really entered that world?
No, I never got into that realm. Which we do have Brandywine near us, so if I wanted to, I definitely could.
Sure. I
personally never got in. I liked like tubing.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like sledding, but I never got into like snowboarding.
When I feel like in Ohio, I don't know why the last couple of years, all I've gotten reports of like they don't have enough snow or it's not cold enough for them to make the snow. So I think it's a tough go here if you're a skier or a snowboarder here in the state of Ohio. But nonetheless, that's our second one up at Matt Fontana Show. Did you watch Baker Mayfield yesterday?
Yeah, I was super happy to see him.
I thought about asking that question this morning about how Browns fans view Baker Mayfield. And I know it'll just rile a lot of people up. And I know it's also, we're on the out looking in. We're the ones that are sitting outside the restaurant starving, looking on the inside. Everybody else is getting fat. Jordan Love's having a great time. And, Lamar Jackson's coming off a bye. We're out. So it stings. But there were people that didn't want that move to be made for Watson because they were all in on Baker Mayfield. And I will fully admit, I said what I said a couple of years ago. I felt like the Browns could have won a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield. And I still think that today. Now, does it need to be a specific type of offense? Yes. Does he need playmakers around him? Sure. He's not one of those quarterbacks that are, when we talk about an elite level of quarterback, those are guys that fix other problems. They have lesser wide receivers, and they elevate because they're just that good. And you even saw this year, maybe even the limitations of Patrick Mahomes. But I thought Baker could be good. I thought he could be. And it didn't go well here on the 1 year. And I would think he would admit maybe he didn't help himself at some times with some things. But he got discarded by this franchise. And he wouldn't want a playoff game yesterday. Does that bother you? Does that sting with you a little bit?
No, not even the slightest.
It doesn't
and,
either.
And I'll tell you exactly why.
Either.
I'll tell you exactly why. Let's go back to the start. Let's get rid of this narrative that we gave up on Baker, okay? He played awful in the 2021 season, and that's fine.
Sure.
Listen, it's not like he went from the Browns to the Bucks and all of a sudden is playing great, right? He went to the Panthers, got cut. Went to the Rams, got cut. It seemed like his career was really kind of on the downside. It was over for this number one overall pick.
He turned a little bit around in the Rams.
He did in that Rams when he had like 17 hours to prepare.
Yeah.
He did. He played good.
A little bit.
And that's why the Bucks gave him a chance. Now listen, yes, he's went there and he's played really good. When he was in Cleveland, though, it was clear that he let the media get to his head. He cared about what people were saying on Twitter. Maybe this whole journey for him made him grow up. He's becoming a dad. He seems like he's grown up. And now he's doing good on the Buccaneers. Don't think that if Baker was still on the Browns, that this is exactly how the same career trajectory would have went. It wouldn't. The bridges were burned. It wasn't going to work. I think people need to just accept that and let it go and be happy that this guy who gave us a moment of joy when we haven't had one in so long in that playoff game, be happy that he's being successful there. It's not like it was one or the other. He's successful there. Well, he would have been successful here. No, that's not really how it works.
Well, the thing is that people got so angry. Of all the wars that we have fought with the Cleveland Browns where people pick a side or not, there's nothing quite like the Baker wars. And there was a staunch group that said he was terrible. There were people that were naming their kids after him and defending him to the nth degree. So they're always still there. And for me, I believed in Baker. I thought he could be good. It didn't work out. They made the move that they did. But also, make no mistake, I'm not rooting for him necessarily. I'll be completely honest with you. I lost money, as you know, because I took the Eagles yesterday. Oh, Baker won. All right, good for him. That's great. I'm more worried about what the Browns are going to do this off. Like, there are people, and I know this, there are Browns fans out there that are now rooting for Baker Mayfield. They have adopted now the Buccaneers as their team to move forward. And the other thing I was going to ask a little bit later, how do you watch the playoffs differently? Do you adopt the team? Are you jumping on the Detroit bandwagon now? Are you just going to root against the Ravens now that we're out? And unfortunately, there's been a lot of years that we've not participated in the playoffs, and I think viewing is different. You were a part of it. You're like, are you going to root hard against the Houston Texans this weekend coming up?
No. In fact, I want them to go win it all.
Because it looks a little bit better.
It looks a little bit better,
Fair.
one. And, like, that's the thing. People get it so messed up as actually, I take that back. I want the Lions to win because I think that'd be the most special.
You adopted the Lions.
But outside of the Lions, maybe the Texans, given that they beat the Browns, it'd be nice to see them move forward, to kind of take some of that stink of that loss off. But then beyond that, I would be fine with seeing Baker win against Detroit, honestly. It doesn't do anything for me. People need to relax. Like,
it does nothing. I don't
doesn't
care.
affect ours. Whether you want to think
that's the sad thing. People are going to let it, Ryan. You're right.
Won't.
And that's people
but that's
were
their
just
problem.
so
That's their problem.
It is, and the thing is, you have nothing else to grab onto right now. Right?
Yeah.
What else do you have for the Cleveland Browns to jump onto? Right? That is where, if you were looking for a coach, at least you would have that to be your distraction, or at least something to be focused on when the Mike Munchak interview. I don't know why I pulled that name, but when we're interviewing Doug Marrone to come in here, at least you'd be focused on that. Now we're sitting there watching a bunch of playoff games, and I'm not going to yell at people. If you want to jump on this team, if you want to say I'm going to root for Baker, I'm going to jump on Detroit, sure, that's fine. For me, I just watch each one of these games. I'll place my wager there on Tipico, and that I tell you that is truthfully my interest, is my $5 bet that I'm placing on these games to sit back and watch them, because if I didn't, I wouldn't care.
And for the people that are screaming at the mountaintops trying to cause this another civil war with Baker, let's take a step back and look at it through just this season, right? Yes, he's in the playoffs and he beat that Eagles team. That Eagles team was the worst team heading into the playoffs.
Should have known.
Mind you, he barely got into the playoffs in the worst division in the NFC South. It's not like he's had this great year. He's had a great year in terms of he came back, and for himself, he's had a great year. But, however, don't get it twisted and act like he's been playing at this elite level all year, because that's not the case.
I'll give some people what they want. You win. You win. Right? With where I sit right now today, you won on Baker. You did. You're right. The journey has been a long one. Deshaun Watson has not played here, basically. He has not played yet for the Cleveland Browns.
But Matt, hold
Good,
that.
they
because
won.
Don't even tell them they won. Don't even tell them they won.
No, it doesn't bother me.
But no, because yeah, you're right. It doesn't bother me. But it's a fact they didn't win. Why? Because
get that T-shirt made. I won the Baker Wars. We'll put that up.
You can't sit here and just extrapolate his play for the Buccaneers and
no, you're looking at it through like a lens, right? To be like, oh my God, did you see what he did
Let's not kid ourselves.
Right.
Let's not kid ourselves and act like Baker would all of a sudden have been this guy. He played great in one playoff game. I hope he does better. That's not even me hating on him. But let's deep breath. Let's relax. Baker people, I get it, but relax.
It's just interesting that as prideful. That's the thing. We talk so much about being a prideful group. Okay, we all live and die with our football team, for better or for worse. So when you have that level of investment, you can't just let it go. There are people that still, how many Baker jerseys were still, when Dude Wipes did that swap, right? There were a lot of Baker jerseys and people got to move on. I still know people that are staunch Baker supporters. And
that's fine.
Listen, I'm going to paint with a really broad brush here just for a second. There are some, even to the detriment of the Cleveland Browns.
See, that's the problem.
Would love to be proven right.
Yeah, that's
about Baker.
That exactly.
And
you know exactly how that is. That's pretty much saying, I didn't vote for this president, so I hope he fails.
Right.
Or how about you just say, I hope he
really
succeeds so we can have a good country that runs
any
well.
Updates on the Iowa caucuses? How'd that go?
Oh, that's morning update. We have Vivek Ramaswamy coming on this week.
Good call on that. Good call on the pronunciation. Well done. One of my best friends from college, my college roommate, he lives in Iowa. He and his wife, they live in Iowa. And it was his birthday the other day. I just randomly texted him, how are things going up there? He goes, oh, we had tickets. They were offered tickets to that Trump rally they were going on. I go, you didn't go just for the spectacle to see what it was all about? Yes, that is a level. You're so invested. People were so invested. I just wonder about how people are viewing it. And for me, I sit back and I go, you're right. It probably was never going to work here. And that's a source of frustration because we searched this desert for a quarterback for so long, and he was a guy that did a lot of great things. He did things that hadn't been done here in a long time. And people got so in that when it came crashing down, it was a hard realization to understand. But the thing is, he didn't retire. You know what I mean? Like, he's still out there doing it. So you're going to make that comparison. Oh, is that good? So, and for me, I tell you this, and this is what I've always said. I got nothing for or against him. I really don't. I really don't. It's not a little like Joe Flacco, because Flacco, is beloved here, but I thank him for the memories. I do. And there's an element, I wish the Browns were in a better spot. We're doing our list of positivity this morning, and I'm happy to say that the list is continuing to grow. And there's a lot of good things to jump on this list about. But you still have questions at the quarterback. And that is why you even entertain these type of things. That's why you even sit there and let it gnaw at you a little bit. You got to have the belief and the faith that they're going to be able to turn this stuff around, that they're going to get the play out of Deshaun Watson that you need. I wasn't going to bring this tweet up. But it kind of makes sense right now. Even for the anti-Deshaun Watson crew, do you want to know a list of positivity? You're a year from getting out of this thing if you really need to. That was a tweet I got. Hang on, I want to find it. Jay Wiz, we're another year closer to when they can release Deshaun Watson.
That's loser behavior.
I'm just saying, like, if you really are that way of it, there's still a way to spin that positively. You're that much closer to it. You got the Mike Tomlin thing up? I want to play that. So things seem to be imploding for Pittsburgh. Obviously, there's 2 games yesterday. It was not a game, and I know they got close, and they were covering there late, and then, of course, I cashed out. I did the smart thing. I cashed out on that. By the way, I made $2, Ryan, on my bet because I took the Steelers plus 10. They had nothing for that game. It's clear it's not Mason Rudolph. It's George Pickens still being ticked off and all that kind of stuff. And the Bills played a fine game. The stadium actually looked all right. I mean, the snow was always fun when they kept throwing it and all that. But the Steelers are done. They're out. They somehow backed their way in. But now, drama. The one thing that you could say about the Pittsburgh Steelers for a long time was, man, they avoided that drama. That's not where they're at today. Here's Mike Tomlin at his press conference after the game yesterday.
Anyone?
Mike, you have a year left on your contract.
Oh. Wow.
Watch that bad boy one more time.
Watch it again.
Anyone?
So it's like nobody
Mike,
had any
you have
questions.
a year left on your contract.
Now that tells you what? That Mike Tomlin had it in his head the second that he was going to get a contract question or his future question, he was going to walk out.
Which is soft.
Well, Belichick did that on his post after the last game where he goes, I'm not answering any questions about my future. It's kind of what he did. But he didn't walk out.
It's your job.
Now he's
It's
sitting out of here?
It's an appropriate question to ask.
Yeah,
I get his frustration, but
not maybe at that point. Like, obviously we are in the media, and there are people that need to ask that question because they need to report on it. Now, the thing is, after the game, you're believing that this is going to be how did Mason Rudolph play, and what did you see out of Alex Highsmith today? He will do an end-of-season press conference, I'm assuming today. And that's maybe where they should have wait. But I respect the question because you're right. It's all anybody cares about. Yeah. It's the only thing that matters.
It's what the broadcast is talking about before they show your game.
Right, before you even start.
Of course you're going to get questions about it.
I say this as a guy that I respect Mike Tomlin to the nth degree.
Absolutely.
I think Mike Tomlin is a great head coach.
I pray he walks.
He's going to. There is in no world that he goes back to that job. How could he? There is no way. And folks, as a Browns fan, can I tell you how exciting that is? There is a chance that it starts to implode over there. What has been the mark of the Pittsburgh Steelers for pretty much my entire lifetime? They've had a good coach and a good quarterback. Neither of those statements are true because I think Mike Tomlin is going to walk. Now, the thing is for the Steelers, they might look at the landscape here and say, there's 7 teams over here that are all fighting for coaches. Do we really want to try to go get one this year? Or can we coax Mike Tomlin to come back for one more year and play this out and we'll go get a coach next year? Personally, I would say make the clean break. You're going to get a quarterback this offseason and you're going to find a new head coach. Make that an easy thing. The other thing, what I thought was going to be their avenue might be drying up of getting a free agent quarterback. I think just keep Justin Fields away from the Steelers. For the love of God, please.
Yeah, I'd shit myself.
So if he stays in Chicago, good, stay there. I think Minnesota's going to re-sign Kirk Cousins. They can go get Derek Carr, Russell Wilson if they really want to. That's fine. They seemed like a team that would be more of the free agent avenue, plug in a guy that you already know a little bit about, Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know why I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to go there. But anyway, Mike Tomlin, leave, please. As a well-respected coach, who I have a lot of respect for, I hope he leaves. And I would love to watch the Pittsburgh Steelers wallow for a couple of years in mediocrity. That would be a lot of fun to see them finally, I don't want to say get their up and comings because, they've just been a good team forever. But they've avoided the bad years. And if they really want to treat Mike Tomlin that way, because the other thing, they could shut this down.
Yeah.
The Rooneys could come out and be like, we're shutting all this down. Mike Tomlin is staying here. But the window is open because I think even they probably are like, you know what? Maybe we need to make a move here. Maybe we need to do something. Do it. Go ahead. Because I don't think you're finding a guy like Mike Tomlin available to build up what he has there. So do you want to put that on the Browns list of positivity?
Yeah, absolutely.
Steelers imploding? We'll still take those in the Twitter inbox. Your list of positivity for the Cleveland Browns. You want to know what I got so far? Culture, Kevin Stefanski, core group of players, Dustin Hopkins, JOK, Jim Donovan, young players, offensive line, the white jerseys looked good this year. Andrew Berry, we went to the playoffs, we built a home field advantage, and the Steelers have imploded.
You know how I'm going to make you throw on that list for some love?
Sure.
Corey Bjorkes.
All right, I'll put, you want to put Hopkins and Borquez on the same one?
Absolutely.
Corey Bjorkes.
I'm sad because now I have to change my header on Twitter because football season's over.
You can leave it up. You can do whatever you want.
It was those two. I feel like I got to make some Cavs now.
You can leave that up. You can do whatever you want on it. So there's your list of positivity. The Steelers are borderline imploding. Please let Mike Tomlin leave.
Matt,
Please let him leave.
we should this week before the dust settles make a list of the most attractive destinations and rank them.
We can do that tomorrow.
Yeah,
we got
I
a
think
lot of
that'd be
stuff
fun.
coming up. I got a lot of stuff for hour 2 coming up.
Because once that news, if it breaks sooner than later about Tomlin, I'm sure we'll talk about it in the morning update, actually.
Yeah, doing the morning update. We'll do our list tomorrow because, frankly, in hour 2, I got a lot of stuff. Seth Walder, who does ESPN Analytics, the 100 top MVP candidates. So, like 100 players in the NFL. He ranks them on their MVP candidacy.
For this season?
For this season. Strictly. All right, so he writes here. This is purely a descriptive exercises. All that matters is which players generated the most value. So it's not it's on just numbers. On strictly just numbers.
I like that.
Who was the top 100 players this year or the best ones to win the MVP? Here's your little primer. Number 1 was not Lamar Jackson. And my other teaser, Ryan, there were 4 Browns on this list. Now, you know one. I'll tell you where my. So don't spoil it yet. We'll get to that in hour 2. Again, a Seth Walder's top 100 MVP rankings. There were 4 Browns.
I think I already know.
You already know all 4.
I think so.
Okay, all right. We'll get to that coming up in hour 2. We also have Dan Graziano overreaction for the Cleveland Browns this offseason. And if we get to it, I think it's a question we all know. What is the biggest question facing the Browns this offseason? We got all that coming up in hour 2. But the Cavs, nice job last night. We just missed our typical
hell of a game,
boost, man. Let's talk Cavs for a second. The Bulls, was it a 17-2 run or something in the third quarter to get back into it? A little upset by that. You are still doing what we all asked them to do. You're winning games while Evan Mobley and Darius Garland are still on the mend. Solid job. Dude, we just missed it. We took our boost on the Cavs. -3. They covered that. Jared Allen rebounds. They got that. We missed what did we need? 112? And they finished with 109. We were 3 points short.
No, they need 111.
Oh, we missed it by 2. Damn. So we were close on our Tipico boost. We'll do an NBA Tipico boost today for tonight. We've got some action. Well done for the Cavs. I think it's status quo, right? They got that win out in Paris. Just keep clicking these off. The Bulls are not a good team. Yeah, they tried to get back into it, but you fought them off well. I feel better about where the Cavs are at. It's kind of this lull right now of where we sit with the wine and gold, just kind of waiting for these other guys to get back. But nonetheless, I'm happy with what that Cavs game lasted. It was a lot of fun to watch. And again, I think that builds a little resiliency, right? When you have a team make those runs, you're able to hold them off and still get a win. I love it. I love it from the Cavs. One little thing.
I got a spicy take on the Cavs, man.
Go ahead. I'm all for it. Because I was going to say one guy that I think we need to kind of get back going again is Max Strus.
Yeah.
Just 2 last night. But your spicy take for the Cavs, please.
Yeah, so, Matt, if I was to ask you to give me an MVP during this stretch run without Mobley and without Garland.
I can't say Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. You can't say Donovan.
Are you going to say Sam Merrill?
No.
Okay. I like Karis LeVert, but it's been Jared Allen.
It's been Jared Allen. It's been Jared Allen. He's got,
9 straight double-doubles?
Yeah. He's been playing out of his mind. And is it kind of maybe a good thing that he's getting this time to play without Mobley?
Good from which standpoint?
Good from the standpoint that he gets that confidence back. He knows he's that dude. Maybe he felt a little bit shadowed by Mobley, but then at the end of the day, maybe they don't really mix together as well as we would have thought.
And he's improving his draft stock.
You mean trade stock?
Draft stock, yes. Trade stock. Thank you very much. They're not drafting Jared Allen again. Expansion draft for the new Vancouver Grizzlies who are coming back. No, I mean, yes, Jared Allen, it's the Cavs are top heavy. Their 4 best players play 2 positions. You have 2 similar guys in Allen and Mobley. You have 2 similar guys in Garland and Donovan Mitchell. And those are the things that the Cavs are trying to figure out of, yeah, they put money into Max Strus and George Niang and trying to get these wing guys and all that kind of stuff. You're top heavy. You are loaded at 2 positions. The one that you seem more likely to move on would be Jared Allen of that group, right? You don't want him to leave? I don't want him to leave. But I think we're conditioned to that, especially now with all the change when it comes to Donovan Mitchell. The thing is, yes, Jared Allen playing well helps you in a lot of fronts. A, he's helping you win basketball games. B, if you do need to move him, you want him playing his best because you're going to get more back. The thing is, as we approach the trade deadline even closer, we're only a couple weeks away from it, are we not?
Sorry, Jared Allen's a future Laker.
They're not doing anything. They're not doing anything at this trade deadline. I think you have kept it together enough that you're not going to pull the trigger on a Donovan Mitchell trade. Even with the landscape, there's that world now maybe he does sign that. I don't know. Those are all jobs for Kobe Altman. It's not an easy job. I get that. But the Cavs are at a point now, they're not going to do anything. They don't have any moves. They don't have any assets to move anyway. So I'm not jumping on the Jared Allen thing. But again, him playing well helps the team, or at least gives Kobe Altman some opportunities for that. So again, the Cavs, nice win last night. We just missed our boost. They are back in action. Win tomorrow. Oh, big one against the Bucks on ESPN tomorrow night.
See, that's a big game that you would love
I'm
to see them
excited to
win
watch
because
that.
we've been beating up on the teams we should. We've been running the course as we should. But I'm not quite ready to buy into this team yet until I see us compete with a team like the Bucks.
So I saw this morning from Bobby Marks and Kevin Pelton from ESPN. They do, they do all the NBA kind of, analyst work, but all just the inside. They did their rookie rankings. Craig Porter Jr. got a top 10 vote from Kevin Pelton.
Nice.
I want to know, is Sam Merrill still a rookie? Craig Porter Jr. made it. Yep, twice. Craig Porter Jr. made it twice. He got a 9th place vote from Kevin Pelton. And that's it. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, just the one. So he made it once. So I was wondering to see if Sam Merrill was going to make it. Cavs kept things live. You love it very much. All right, let's do this. We're going to catch our break. We come back. We got the morning update. We'll go back through the playoff games, and I have a lot of Browns to get to here in hour 2. Biggest question facing them this offseason. I can't wait to get to the Seth Walder list of the 100 MVPs. 4 Browns made it. I'll tell you who it was. Ryan's going to guess, and we'll get into a little bit of Myles Garrett because, of course, he was on that list. Folks, Tipico is where we do our bets. We love them. They're the best. You want to get geared up for the playoff run here? Place a little wager, sign up with the code Fontana100. You deposit $25 and you bet it on whatever you want. With that code Fontana100, you get that $100 in bonus bets. You'll be geared up all weekend long for playoff football. NBA's going on, college basketball. I can't wait. I don't like college basketball, but it's going to be so much fun on Tipico to be doing our boosts and getting into all that.
Did you see their new leaderboard thing they're doing?
Yes, I saw that.
Oh my God,
so they tweeted
that's
this
one
out.
of the coolest things I've ever seen.
So they have a leaderboard, and I retweeted it at MattFontana83. I know Dave retweeted it. Or just do this. Go follow Tipico on Twitter. And yes, they have a leaderboard for the football playoffs. And for every dollar that you bet, you're getting points for that. You're still winning these bets. At least I hope you are.
I know Dave's going for the title.
I know he's going to really get in on this. And then the other thing.
Did you see what they win?
A year-long worth of free bets.
Every week you get a $100 bet credit.
That is insane.
Every week.
That is crazy.
A $100 bet credit for the year.
That is in somebody. It's not like there's a chance somebody wins it. Somebody is getting that. Someone is going to get. I think Claire was the name from Ohio. A lot of Ohioans on that list. You scrolling? Can you pull that up? Can you put that on our screen real quick? You're looking for it real quick? Tipico might be easier to find it for you.
Yeah, probably.
You just search Tipico. Follow them on Twitter. They're a great follow on Twitter. They always do. And the other thing I love about Tipico, I meant Tipico's Twitter. It's on Tipico's Twitter. I know that. Because the other thing is they have insight. Like we have Sonny on every week, but they have write-ups on their Twitter, on their social for some of the games that you want to jump into with all that. Retweeting our show. We love you, Tipico. We thank you very much for that. Is that it? That is it?
Yeah, they're not able to see it right now, but yeah.
Okay.
Kevin from New Jersey.
There was a Claire from Ohio. Was there not on that list somewhere?
There's a Curtis.
Okay. That might be updated.
This might be updated.
I think it's updated. So you get in on that. They've got the rewards rocking, too. For every dollar that you bet, you're going to get those rewards back. The new Flex Parlay. Tipico is where it's at, folks. Download the app, deposit and bet $25. With that code Fontana100, you get $100 in bonus bets. It is that easy.
Grand prize winner receiving $100 bet credit every week.
Every week. Dude, how much
Could you imagine?
fun would that be?
I'd just be throwing.
How much fun
I'd be
would
throwing
that
100
be?
on like plus 10,000 odds.
Dude, that'd be so great. That'd be so much fun. So that's rocking with Tipico. Check them out on the website, Tipico. Download the app. Terms and conditions are all there. If you need help with the gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLER for all that. So check it out with their friends at Tipico. Let's catch a break. When we come back, morning update and a lot of Browns in hour 2. Stay with us. Fontana Show right here on Big Play. Let's get to it. The morning update here on a Tuesday. Frigid Tuesday. Sun's out now, though, man.
A little too late.
Is it weird that I wake, and I think this is a Midwestern thing or a Cleveland thing. Bro, I woke up this morning, and with the snow, I walked outside, and I go, oh, it's a little warmer today. It was 11 degrees. Like, nobody in the world ever say, oh, you would say it was warmer? I'm like, well, yeah, it's not negative. Like, I have a sixth sense, and I think a lot of people do. I know when it's above freezing or not. Like, when I walk out of my house and it's either 29 or 33 degrees, that's something weird about it. So, it's supposed to be frigid again tomorrow, but we'll warm up a little bit. Got you covered here on a Wednesday. All the stories you have got to know. Take it away, young Ryan.
Well, the Cavaliers are anything but cold as they have a season-high 5-game winning streak after they take down the Bulls pretty convincingly last night. Jared Allen stays hot. Donovan continues to lead the way for the Cavs, and we're moving up in the Eastern Conference standings.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, for the Cavs, you just got to keep it right where you're at, and that's exactly what they're doing. Donovan Mitchell's still a beast, still very good, and I think you're starting to see things even out a little bit. Ryan, the Cavs are the 4 seed. They are the 4 seed. Like, that's crazy.
That's what we predicted.
Just a couple of weeks ago, like, out down to the 7-8. I mean, it's starting to even out just a little bit, where the Heat, the Pacers, I mean, just keep this afloat. Now, there will be pressure when Garland and Mobley come back, and I was cautioning everybody on this. Just when these guys get cleared, there's going to be a week of practice, and they got to get conditioning back going. Probably more for Mobley because he can't run right now, but I still am holding strong. I want a top 4 seed for this team. That is, and I don't think that's out of the realm. You're in it right now. You're going to get these two guys back. That's almost like making your moves at the trade deadline. I don't want to say I like where the Cavs are at, but I hope that they're starting to turn the tide a little bit. And another unsung guy, because again, we talk about Jared Allen, we talk about Donovan Mitchell. He's one of my favorite players, man. I love Karis LeVert. And I think he means so much to this team, that scorer off the bench, and there's going to be games where you're going to need him to go for 25, and I feel confident that he can. Strus seems to be back in a funk a little bit. I don't know why. But, like, even George Niang showed up a little bit last night. I like the makeup of this team. You just keep fighting on. They're doing a good job. You're in the 4 seed right now. You're in the 4 seed. That's all I care about.
It also appears that Darius Garland got his wire removed from his jaw Monday afternoon, so he's certainly trending in the right direction. Well, trouble in paradise for the Steelers, Matt. Mike Tomlin walked out abruptly in his post-game presser after a reporter asked him about his future with the Steelers. Now, Matt, since I've been watching football, I have never seen a head coach that wasn't named Mike Tomlin. Where do they go from here?
The first thing that the Roonies need to do is this. They need to sit down with Mike Tomlin, whether they did that last night, whether they're doing it this morning, and ask him, what do you want to do? Mike, what do you want to do? Because if your heart is not in this anymore, that's fine. You will go down as a Steelers legend. I don't know quite the level of Bill Cowher. I don't know about Chuck Noll, but you are in great standing with us. And if you tell us, I had a fantastic run here, and I think it's time to go in a different direction, then you make the move. But I would put it this way. It's enough to put it on Mike Tomlin. It's not like Bill Belichick, right? I'm not saying that Tomlin's on the same level of Belichick. That was going really bad, really fast, right? The Steelers made the playoffs. Now, the bigger issue that they face is a quarterback. And Tomlin is not a general manager. They have to make their own decisions. So even if you're Mike Tomlin, do you sit there and say, I want to sign up for having a quarterback controversy or having to go back to Kenny Pickett? Like, he might sit down and say, you know what, I'm good. And do you want to know the other thing that I don't think is getting brought up in this whole situation? What if Mike Tomlin sees all these other jobs and he goes, yeah, I want to go over there now? You know what I mean? It's not a barren decision. There are jobs open, I guess is my point. Like, if there was 2 jobs open and you knew Harbaugh was going to take one and you knew Belichick was going to take the other one, then you might be like, all right, I'm going to stay right here. No, man. This is a wide open playing field right now, to the point of nobody's even announced. Like, it's so weird to me the Raiders have not announced Antonio Pierce as their new head coach. Dude, he's taken other interviews, by the way. which is weird.
The most Mark Davis thing ever.
What if Tomlin went up to Seattle? I kind of like that for the Seattle Seahawks. I really do.
I thought about that earlier.
Then you got McCarthy waiting on that. Like, it's open. It is wide open right now. So if you're Tomlin, now would be the time to pull the chute and say, yeah, I'm going to go out and get out of here. Now, the Steelers then would enter this, and we'll get to our rankings tomorrow on the most attractive jobs. But I would put this in Mike Tomlin's hands. If I was him, because the other thing you got to remember, he's still under contract. He's got one more year left on his deal. So whether he leaves, whether he sits out a year, I don't know. But if I were him, I would probably say, I had a great run. There's not much more I can do here. Let me go somewhere else. I like Seattle for him. I don't know why. I really like Seattle for him.
I was thinking, Matt, I really will not want to see, because I don't care about any other team's success, really, except the Browns. But if I were the Falcons, I'm throwing everything I possibly can to get Fields, make the Bears take that deal and draft Caleb Williams, and hire Tomlin or Vrabel.
Well, I'm sure you have this coming up. Caleb Williams did officially declare yesterday. We'll talk about that in just a second. Yeah, I mean, it's the marriage you want, coach and quarterback, right? And usually if you have one, you don't have the other if you're in this situation. Like, yeah, Atlanta needs both. Pittsburgh needs both. Seattle, they have Geno Smith, okay,
They
fine.
need both.
Chargers have Justin Herbert. They just need the coach. But there's your reset. And that's kind of maybe why the Steelers would want to hit this button and say it's just time for the full reset. The rest of that team, I mean, you could do worse. On that defense, I know Najee Harris is not quite what you thought. I mean, Pickens can be good. They might just be that coach and that quarterback away. Because the other thing, with how bad the offense went this year, I know it got better. Tell me that Steelers fans are not salivating on getting Ben Johnson or Bobby Slowick or one of these offensive-minded young coaches in there, because that's against everything that they've had for such a long time. With Cowher, with Tomlin, I would imagine that even Steelers fans are intrigued by getting a young offensive mind in there, but then again, get him the quarterback. You got to find them a quarterback to kind of make that work a little bit. I don't know. I just love Steelers are not in a good spot right now. They're not in a good spot right now, and that warms my heart just a little bit.
Well, after last night, the divisional round for the NFL playoffs is officially set. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs will travel to Buffalo to play. That'll be the first road playoff game in Patrick Mahomes' illustrious career. Flip it to the NFC. We get the Lions and the Baker and Bucks. And then the 49ers, obviously that one seed, they play the Packers. And Baltimore, they take on the Texans.
Well, you know, the other thing is Nick Sirianni now, too, because he is now in a big thing. We'll see. But, yeah, I mean, it's exciting. The NFL is getting exactly what they want. They have star players. They've got some young quarterbacks. The playoffs cannot be beat. They really cannot be beat in the NFL right now. I wish we were still a part of it, but still, you have some great, intriguing matchups. Dude, that Chiefs-Buffalo game is going to be great. I'm really excited for that. Weather's supposed to not be near as bad. It'll clear up a little bit. You get Mahomes, Allen. I mean, you get that little intrigue of C.J. Stroud and Lamar Jackson, right? Like, that's going to be a fun game. Here's a question. Which playoffs are you more excited to watch, the AFC or the NFC?
Probably the AFC.
Okay.
Probably the AFC, given I think the 49ers are going to run away.
Sure.
So I would say the AFC.
I can listen to that.
Yeah.
Again, Bucks, Lions, okay. Packers, 49ers, that is a very intriguing game. But again, Houston, Baltimore is great. And Kansas City, Buffalo is going to be my game. And that's the late game on Sunday. That's my favorite game for this weekend coming up. But we got a lot more to get to throughout the weekend. You're up for that this weekend.
All right, well, we saw Jim Harbaugh interview for that Chargers job. However, now we see that Bill Belichick apparently took an interview with the Atlanta Falcons, Matt. But I got to ask, don't you think it was more so Bill Belichick interviewed the Falcons?
Sure, and the thing is, in these negotiations with these billionaires and Arthur Blank, who owns Home Depot, you don't get that way. There's a rule. You never make the first offer, right? In contract negotiations, you never make the first offer. You make them give it to you. But in this one where it seems to be Belichick probably won't have a lot of options, I don't really know what Atlanta sees in him, but that seems to be a match made in heaven. Now, you mentioned Jim Harbaugh, because this just came down from Dan Wetzel half an hour ago. he remains engaged in discussions with Michigan about contract extensions, according to industry sources to Dan Wetzel. Now, this includes an unusual termination clause should he stay in Ann Arbor. This is from Dan Wetzel this morning. Specifically, sources are saying Harbaugh is seeking language that would grant him immunity from termination from any finding or sanction that could arise from multiple current NCAA investigations into the program. What does that mean? He wants it written in his contract that they cannot fire him over this sign stealing thing. So would that then tell me that this is worse than we all thought? I thought this was over. I thought this was done. You know, we put the clip out, Ryan, that went nuts on Instagram for Michigan fans. Was it 319 comments we got on a clip that I said
More
that the
than
Michigan championship is tainted. And I said it doesn't mean that they didn't deserve to win it. It's just when you hear Michigan National Championship, that is what you will think of, right? So therefore it is tainted. So now, according to Dan Wetzel of Yahoo, Harbaugh is seeking language that would grant him immunity from getting fired over this sign stealing. Now, that doesn't mean the future, right? There's another thing that comes out next year down the road. That's a different thing. What I will tell you is this, on my little low-level knowing of how contracts work on big-level hirings like that, there is in no way that Michigan will give him that. You want to know why? These schools want the power to fire you, and they want any little thing written in to save them money. Go look at Mel Tucker at Michigan State. Go look at any of those SEC coaches that get axed. They want any reason that they can to not have to pay you all the money that they owe you. I can guarantee you that Texas A&M, with a fine-tooth comb, went over Jimbo Fisher's deal to try to not have to pay him all that money. Well, sorry, you got to pay him there. So if Harbaugh sits down and says, I'll resign, but only if you can't fire me, the school's going to, no, we need to keep all of our options open. That's an interesting turn of events here. But also, does that shock you at all that, according to sources to Wetzel, that he is still engaged in talks with Michigan? That doesn't shock me in the least, dude. Jim Harbaugh's a smart guy. You keep all your options on the table. That puts pressure on the NFL teams to come with the money that you want. That puts pressure on Michigan to give you what he wants, which clearly is this immunity from this current investigation. Interesting stuff coming out with Harbaugh. We'll do it tomorrow in our coaching carousel to see the number one guy. Yeah, probably. Probably him, Vrabel. I would take Mike Vrabel over Jim Harbaugh. That's just me, and that's not even a Michigan bias thing, but that's just me. But interesting stuff there with Jim Harbaugh coming out this morning. All right, great stuff there on the morning update. All right, Ryan, are you primed and ready to go?
Let's do it.
Seth Walder. So Seth does the analytics for ESPN. I frankly love reading some of his stuff just because, again, it's not bias. It's not fluff. It's not what you view. It's strictly the analytics. So what he did was he listed out the 100 players in the NFL this past season. He ranked an MVP ballot. And as he writes here, and I'm going to read this to everybody, this is how he came up with his ranking. Number one, this is purely descriptive from an exercise. All that matters is which players generated the most value in the regular season. The ballot represents my opinion, but is heavily influenced by quantitative data, the numbers, pass rush win rate, pass block win rate, receiver tracking metrics. He factors in all pro teams and pro football focus grades. He shares this version as it goes through. And he finally says, to reconcile different positions, I consider how much value a player created over the average starter at his position, which means quarterbacks will always rank higher. Okay? So there's three things before we get into this list. Numbers purely, it is still his opinion based on those numbers, and it is weighted by the position that you played. Does everybody got that? For the top 100 players, MVP ballot for Seth Walder. Number one, Dak Prescott. Strictly, he finished number 2 in QBR and expected points added. Number 2, Josh Allen. Number 3, Lamar Jackson. Number 4, Patrick Mahomes. Number 5, the first non-quarterback on this list. Your guess, Ryan. Number 5.
Christian McCaffrey.
No.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill is correct. Number 6.
Christian McCaffrey.
No.
Is it a quarterback?
No.
AJ Brown.
No.
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb. Number 7, Christian McCaffrey.
There we go.
Number 8, the first defensive player on this list.
Okay, so is it Miles?
It's not Miles.
Okay, is it an end?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't put TJ Watt, did they?
No.
Micah Parsons?
Micah Parsons is correct. At number 9,
Miles?
Miles Lorenz Garrett. He writes up on Garrett. Garrett led the NFL's best defense this season and was one of the best we've seen in recent years. Cleveland's minus 1.1 EPA per play was the best for any team since 2019, the Patriots. Garrett, 14 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, a 31% pass rush win rate on the edge, which was second only to Parsons. He said, what separated Micah and Miles? Not much. He said Parsons had more down-to-down disruption and a few more pass rush wins. Garrett, however, had the turnover department, and he was a better run defender. He said, I leaned towards Parsons, but I wouldn't fault anybody of putting Myles Garrett as the best defensive player on this list, which, again, was 8-9 between Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett. Do you still feel like Myles is going to win Defensive Player of the Year? It's interesting because how Saturday went, knowing that the votes for Coach of the Year and
matter.
Defensive Player of the Year were already cast, and you might win both of those awards. I don't know if that'd be salt in the wound or not. I don't think it changes anything. List of positivity.
I would still give it to Miles.
COY and DPOY.
I think he'll still win it.
Maybe winners.
And should be, but probably won't. Comeback player.
Yeah, I mean, listen, DeMar Hamlin, that whole situation was great. But really, if you took of the essence of what that award is,
it's Joe Flacco.
Probably Joe Flacco. I think Baker Mayfield might even get votes for that too. But let's not forget what DeMar. You know what I mean? Like, and I know people are upset because they want Flacco to win it and they called it a PR stunt, dude. DeMar Hamlin, come on now. You know what he like? That's insane. It's an award. Give it to him or do co. I don't know. Do whatever you want to do. But yes, certainly Coach of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year as well. He put, okay, so again, Seth Walder's top 100 MVP valid. So I mentioned Myles Garrett was just one of a couple Cleveland Browns on the list. Next up at number 47, your guess.
Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper is correct. Now, weirdly, he did no write-up for Amari Cooper, okay? Next up at number 50 for the Cleveland Browns.
So I just want to get this guess out of the way because, like, I don't know if this fits into the MVP narrative, but in terms of he was our MVP, you have to bring up Dustin Hopkins.
It was not Dustin
So
Hopkins.
I didn't think they would throw a kicker in there, so
not.
that's fair.
Yeah.
So what number 50?
50.
Martin Emerson?
No, good guess, though.
So did Denzel play enough
It
games?
is Denzel Ward at number 50.
I didn't know if
he
they
gave it
knock
to
him.
Denzel. I'm sure, right. That's a good thing to bring up. I think you're right on with that. So Denzel Ward at 50, and then the final one, Seth Walder's top 100 MVP candidates. This guy was number 99. Just made it, but he did. And I was really kind of shocked to see him on this list, but I'm very happy about it.
Defensive?
Yes.
Jock?
Yes. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
I mean, if you go look,
how about that?
Yeah, if you go look at the value that each individual player brought to this team, I mean, JOK was your kind of flag stamp in the middle of that
Yes.
field. Vicious in the backfield. I mean, I tweeted it about his instincts, right? Like some linebackers just have that nod for the ball and get in the backfield, and he does it with the best.
Yeah.
And it kind of gave me the hint that it could be him because you said they took into the all-pro kind of things, and I got to imagine he just missed that.
He got some votes. He did. So again, of Seth Walder's basically top 100 players from the MVP, Myles Garrett was 9, 47 for Amari Cooper, 50 for Denzel Ward, and 99 for Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. There's a list of things that we'll probably do, I don't know, maybe this week, maybe next week. The offseason checklist for the Cleveland Browns. The things that I need them to do on that list in semi-high, you go ahead and lock up Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Now, the thing is, does he want to enter free agency? He's got one more year left on his rookie deal. This is the time to get it done. Dude, I'm not kidding. I want him signed to a 4 or 5 year deal. He's young enough. I think you've shown that this year was finally what I think we all envisioned for Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. And to have that discussion for just a second, I think, and this isn't a knock at Joe Woods. It's not meant to be throwing dirt on the grave of Joe Woods. I don't think they knew what to do with JOK for a little while. I don't think they exactly knew what his fit was going to be. Now, the narrative when he got drafted was what? This is a guy to stop Lamar Jackson. This is a speedy, fast linebacker that you're going to spy Lamar Jackson. Okay, then they figured out maybe he's got to put on a little bit more weight. And he has really turned into a game wrecker. Absolute game wrecker.
We stole
and
him in that
evolved into this guy that, yes, I'm still going to need him to semi-stop Lamar Jackson. What are you going to do for the other 15 games out of the year? And I think he has now inserted himself to being the prototype. Like, when you look at Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, that is today's linebacker. That is the guy that you need at that Will or Sam position. I need him on a 4 or 5 year deal. I do. Spread that money around. I know we're going to have Jack Duffin on Friday. I'll ask him a lot about the contracts that need to get cinched up and where the money's going to go. On that list has got to be a deal for Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. It just has to be.
And you remember that 2021 draft, Matt? He fell. I think something popped up, whether it was a heart issue, something like that, and we snagged him in the second round. I remember he was the one I wanted us to draft in the first round because I didn't think he'd fall there. But obviously it worked out. We got both him and Greg in that draft, so...
Very solid draft.
Solid draft. Credit to Andrew Berry.
All right, let's get back over to ESPN. Dan Graziano, the overreactions from the wild card weekend. We'll start with the Browns, but we're going to ask every single one of these questions. We'll answer them ourselves. Number one for the Cleveland Browns, is it an overreaction or not that a healthy Browns team will be a Super Bowl contender next season? Dan writes, if DeMeco Ryans doesn't win Coach of the Year, it's going to go to Kevin Stefanski. I think he might win it anyway. Who's coached his teams through all kind of problem this season. Flacco was the fourth starting quarterback. Watson goes down. Browns lost both of their starting tackles. And Nick Chubb with his knee. Cleveland went 11-6 despite all of this. And you have to believe the Browns will be healthier in 2024. Is it an overreaction that they will be a Super Bowl contender strictly by getting healthy? He says that is not an overreaction. The Browns may not be flushed with cap space as we've grown accustomed to them being, so they'll have to make a cut here or two. But if Watson can come back healthy and play the way they're paying him to play, if Nick Chubb can come back and the offensive line is whole again, what the Browns showed this season is they have the players and the coaching to make life miserable for their opponents. Another year in Jim Schwartz's system would make this defense even more formidable. Cleveland is here to stay for a while as an AFC contender. God, I love that. Dude, I love that line about Jim Schwartz, too. As good as this year was, bro, another year, guys more comfortable, and he will sit down with Andrew Berry and go, yeah, these are the kind of guys I'm looking. And I'm not saying they didn't do that this year, and they certainly did with some of the players that they brought in. But I would really look at it, Ryan, even more now to say, okay, this is the kind of guy we're looking for. Or these are the guys that we need. I thought that was a great line from Dan Graziano talking about another year in Jim Schwartz's system. That's going to be huge for the Browns.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at it. It's no surprise that the level that Deshaun is capable of playing is going to be that measurement of how far you're going to get. Like we've talked ad nauseum, Matt, about how this league is so quarterback centric, and no matter how good your defense is, you need that elite quarterback play when you get deep in these playoffs, as we saw. If you go in the offseason, you just mentioned, we'll talk about the checklist. Obviously, everybody knows we need a receiver. I don't know if Zadarius Smith is the answer. Is the Robin to Miles' Batman? I don't know. It might be another year of rent a pass rusher. But if that's what we have to do, hopefully we'll hit the nail on the head this time.
And that's the other thing. You're not, even what Dan said there, the Browns have some room. They have some moves that they're going to be able to make here and there. But you can't pay everybody. And there's going to be these rentals, and there's going to be guys that you just got to piecemeal at some positions. I'm asking for more, yes, that pass rush. But again, if that is that rotational type guy forever, then that's fine. But I'm just going to need these guys to show up. And knowing that I keep going back to it, and I would say this, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is the last guy that I would be worried about as far as this core. Like, anybody that I would look at for this core, you're signed up. You're good. Delpit was one, taken care of. Now it's Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. And I really hope they can find a way. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little nervous about that. But it's Andrew Berry's draft pick. That's what any GM strives for. You draft them, you develop them, you pay them. That looks so much better than some free agent signing that you get. We all love free agency too, but when you have that standard, that is the stuff that carries you a long way as an NFL general manager. All right, you want to do the other overreaction, underreaction for all the other teams?
Do it.
All right, number one, the Buccaneers are a legitimate threat to win the NFC and go to the Super Bowl. Is this an overreaction or not an overreaction?
That is a heavy overreaction.
Dan agrees with that. I can't take anything out of that Eagles game. Like, dude, I watched that game, and I know Joe Buck and Troy Aikman kept bringing it up. They didn't want to tackle. Like, that looked like...
That was embarrassing.
And I'm telling you.
That was flat out embarrassing.
I'm telling you, when they sit down with Nick Sirianni and they talk about his job, I go, bro, what happened to your players? That's a mentality thing. They didn't want to tackle yesterday.
They were checked out from the jump.
Gone. Completely gone. They're not... no offense to the Bucs, who, dude, I mean, come on now. Like...
No, that's a heavy overreaction.
And who do they have to face this weekend?
The Lions.
The Lions. At Detroit. It's not San Francisco, but dude, if you're the 49ers, did the Red Sea just not part here for the 49ers? Come on now. They're rooting for the Bucs to beat the Lions. Go ahead and do that. But I agree with Dan. There's no way that they're going to be able to do that. All right, next up. The Eagles. Let's just do fact or fiction, basically. Is overreaction or not? They need to rethink everything, including coach, quarterback, and all of the assistants and all their players. True or false?
True.
He says that's false.
No.
He says that's an overreaction.
I don't think so.
He said you still have A.J. Brown, who was not healthy enough.
Who
Jalen Hurts.
are we sure even wants to play on the team?
I think frustration's boiled over there.
And last, do you see Dallas Goedert ripping into Jalen Hurts?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing is Jalen Hurts good? I watched last year, yeah, sure. And I know he dislocated his finger. Oh, my gosh. Why do I have a 10:30 alarm going off? Don't worry, I woke up. It's 10:30, everybody. I don't know why I had a 10:30 alarm.
It's your time hop alarm.
I guess. I got time hop coming up for you, by the way. Is Jalen Hurts good? I mean, you have no choice. You paid him. He's got to be it. But I would not tear everything down. I would keep Nick Sirianni.
Nope.
Dude, you were just in the Super Bowl.
And that's another thing.
I mean, they could just chalk it up and say, the problem is with the Eagles, it is a... Okay, you want to know why they should fire Nick Sirianni? It is a mental problem with them. It is a mentality thing. They are broken in between the ears.
He's annoying.
Sirianni?
The way he acts.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh,
A little bit.
so did you see him in the Super Bowl? Jalen
Yeah.
Hurts had to tell him, like, dude, like, the game's not over. Relax.
Well, and
Your
that's...
quarterback, your young
I know.
third-year quarterback tells you that in the Super Bowl.
They got players, which is it's not a talent thing. And I don't even know if it's a scheme thing. But they just seem broken. And if it's as simple as there was the Super Bowl hangover, I know they didn't win it, but they win, and they very clearly seem to be hungover from it. Can you wake up from it? And that, okay. I don't think they're going to fire Nick Sirianni, but if they did, would that not be the job for Jim Harbaugh? You say the Eagles, and by the way, all this stuff better be happening quick, because all these interviews are going on, and contracts are being talked, and money's getting thrown around. The Eagles are going to make the move. They better do it today. But the thing is, you get right on the horn for Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh would walk to Philadelphia from Ann Arbor if he had to. They instantly become the number one destination for Vrabel, for Harbaugh. Not for Belichick. You don't want him there. But I'm saying, if the Eagles wanted to make that move, that's the move to make. That is it. Because what's broke? The mentality. Say what you want about Jim Harbaugh. Dude, tell me he would not fix the mentality of the Philadelphia Eagles if he went there. Ooh, that's a new spicy thing for this offseason.
Well, and then
That's my new thing, man.
look at
If I were them, and again, my knock on Harbaugh is not that he's a good coach. He is a good coach. But in the NFL, he burns out quick. He left the 49ers, and they said, don't let that door hit you on the way out. Because they were not, you're going to get it good for a couple of years. Guys are going to get really sick of him, and they're going to move on. For a couple of years, man. Oh, man, I'd do it. I think I'd do it. If I was the Eagles, I think I'd do it. I would. Sorry, you were going to make a comment.
No, I don't even know what I was going to say. It's okay.
That's all right. I'd go with Harbaugh there. All right, overreaction and a reaction, true or false here, basically, from Dan Graziano. The Bills' defensive injuries will doom them in the divisional round. True or false? They're down their linebacker had to step up. Milano's been out. Tre'Davious White's been out.
I don't know, because I would say
Spector's the guy that got hurt in that game. Benford got hurt.
I don't know. That's hard to say because you could say this about pretty much any team, but the Bills specifically, they're so quarterback-centric. But they go as far as Josh Allen goes.
You ain't stopping Patrick Mahomes. You're missing some of these guys on defense on a short week, too. On a really short week. Not really. Okay, they play Sunday. They played Monday, but still. You're on a short week. I think that's an important one. All right, overreaction, underreaction. Mike Tomlin coached his final game for the Steelers.
I'd say that's true.
Dan says that's an overreaction. He still thinks the most likely outcome is a contract extension for Tomlin in Pittsburgh. Maybe I'm naive. I know he's not going to coach there forever, but this was the kind of trying season that could lead a coach to rethinking things. And if Kenny Pickett isn't a long-term solution at quarterback, Tomlin confronts the possibility of having to start over at the position, which is daunting. He's not talking about Graziano. I'm not dismissing the talk or the idea that Tomlin could end up stepping away. This offseason has already had more than its share of earth-rattling coaching news. There could be more to come. I'm just betting this one with the most coaching stable franchise in the NFL doesn't want to add to the chaos. So Graziano feels this kind of I do. This coaching carousel is too crazy. Do you really want to enter it unless you absolutely have to? Now, if Tomlin wants to leave, he can leave, but we'll see. Jared Goff's the future franchise quarterback of the Lions. True, false? True. I agree. And Dan Graziano says the same. The Rams are a real threat to the 49ers in the NFC West next season. True or false?
You said to the 49ers?
The Rams are a real threat to the 49ers in the NFC West next year.
I'd say they're this year, so yeah.
I agree with you. And so does Dan. Jordan Love's extension will be bigger than Dak Prescott's.
What was Prescott's?
Prescott's. I don't see it on here, which is weird.
I mean, regardless, I'd say true.
I mean, you would think that it just always keeps going up. He signed a 4-year, $160 million deal, $40 a year. Jordan Love ain't getting that. I don't think he's getting that. He's got 1 year left on his deal, and then they'll re-sign. But I don't know about that. I don't think he'll get it. Dan also says he doesn't think he's going to get Dak's deal. Bill Belichick will be coaching the Cowboys in 2024. Overreaction or not?
I think that's an overreaction.
Dan agrees with you. They're going to go somewhere else. I guess, are they really going to fire Mike McCarthy? Who would you rather coach, the Cowboys or the Eagles?
I'd rather coach the Eagles. I'm not dealing with Jerry.
I'd agree with that. Chiefs wide receiver issues are overblown. True or false?
They're overblown?
Overblown.
False.
Okay. That's also what Dan says. That is an overreaction. Oh, I'm sorry. He says that he doesn't think that they're overblown. He thinks the receivers are fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so a little bit different on that one. The final one, the Dolphins will extend Tua Tagovailoa this offseason. They have to. How can they not?
Yeah.
All right, I lied. The Texans. The Texans are the biggest threat to the Ravens in the AFC.
False.
That is also false. Dan agrees with that. I kind of with you on that. All right, let's catch our final break of the morning. We will do time hop when we return, tell you what happened this day in history. We'll get our final notes in there for the Browns list of positivity. I will send that to Ryan. We'll tweet that out and get it up rocking, and we'll get our boost for tonight. You want an NBA boost tonight? Is that what you're feeling? I'm feeling NBA.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. We'll do NBA boost with Tipico. Use the code Fontana100 when you sign up, deposit, and bet $25 and get $100 in bonus bets with code Fontana100 at Tipico. That all comes your way next. Wrapping it up right here in Big Play. Let's jump into time up. Dude, already the 16th of January. How
know, isn't that
crazy.
nuts?
You're just slipping away here already into 2024. But if you're new to the show, first off, welcome. Second off, we do time hop every day. We go back and tell you what happened, including 2 years ago today. Do you remember when Novak Djokovic got deported from Australia because he wasn't vaccinated? They wouldn't let him play in the Australian Open.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so 2022. I mean, I'm not saying COVID is not a thing anymore because it still very much is, but like back when you had to be vaccinated, you have to do this. He was not vaccinated. He went to Australia to play in the Australian Open, and they said go home. So that happened this day, 2022. This day, 2020, the Browns interviewed Monty Osenfort for their general manager position. Very thankfully, that ended up going to Andrew Berry. This day, 2019, Jarvis Landry was named a Pro Bowl injury replacement, going to the Pro Bowl for the Cleveland Browns. This day, 2018, Dave McMenamin put out an article about the Cavs saying that they were concerned that they could not fix their issues with the players that were currently on the roster. Now, of course, 2018... they had to go back, right? And they had to make that giant... 2018 was that year that they made the trade... Like, they sent Dwayne Wade away, and then they got Jordan Clarkson, and they got Larry... They basically overhauled their entire roster at the trade deadline in 2018. Isaiah Thomas left. You brought in Clarkson. Wade left. Jeff Green, Rodney Hood. Remember, it was the big trade of... You got Larry Nance... Oh, God, what was... And I want to get this right.
Let Jay Crowder here?
Jay Crowder, yep. So in 2018, on February 8th, Larry Nance and Jordan Clarkson came to the Cavs in exchange for Isaiah Thomas, Channing Frye, and a first-round pick. Now, they also went out and got Rodney Hood in a deal. Let me see that deal, what that was. Hood was acquired in the Cavs in a 3-team trade involving the Jazz and the Kings. So basically, again, they went out and they made all these trades later, but the report this day, 2018, was they believed that they couldn't get it done with the players they had. Of course, they make the move. This day, 2016, I watched the Manti Te'o documentary. Have you ever watched it?
That came out that long ago?
Or was it the... Maybe it wasn't the documentary. All I had was a bunch of tweets on Manti Te'o. Maybe all the reports came out. Because the documentary, right... It's not that documentary, the one that just came out like a year or two ago. I think it was all like leaked out about what exactly happened. Or you know what? Maybe he did the interview.
I remember the chick went on.
Well, the guy.
Well, the guy went on, or Dr. Phil, I think.
Something like that, yeah. So it all came out this day, 2016, that I was reacting to it, that he got catfished. What a crazy documentary. Time. What a crazy time that was. This day, 1966. It was the 16th ever NFL Pro Bowl. Why do I bring it up? Jim Brown was named the MVP of the game. He had 65 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns in the first half. Here's the shocking thing, Ryan. That was the last football game he ever played.
Yeah.
He would go to Hollywood that offseason and announce his retirement in July on the set of The Dirty Dozen. So the last football game that Jim Brown ever played was this day, 1966, in the Pro Bowl. Walked away from the game.
Yeah, what did he play, 9 years?
9 years, team MVPs, one of the greatest players in history, and of course, rest in peace to Mr. Jim Brown. Very happy birthday goes out to legendary racer AJ Foyt, Roy Jones Jr., Albert Pujols, Aaliyah, Kate Moss, the godfather of horror himself, Mr. John Carpenter, Halloween fame, and we saved the best for last, Joseph Vincent Flacco. Happy birthday, Joe. Never pay for a drink in this town ever again, within the city limits anyway, for Mr. Joe Flacco celebrating his 39th birthday today. Happy birthday to one Joe Flacco. Just 2 movies today. I don't know if you'll get them or not, but we'll see.
Faith.
Okay. All right, this day, 2015. This is a biographical film. It is based on true stories. And it involves 2 brothers who both made the Olympics in this particular sport. I've seen this movie. I frankly think it's a very good movie. It was an award-winning movie. And Michael Scott was in a role that we very rarely see out of him.
Oh, was he like a trainer?
Yep.
I can see the trailer in my head, but there's no way I'm going to be able to tell you what the movie was.
The Schultz brothers,
Okay.
Channing Tatum and Mark Ruffalo, Steve Carell in Foxcatcher. So the story about how, unfortunately, David Schultz was killed by John DuPont, and that movie. I grew up wrestling, so like real wrestling, not fake wrestling. So I've seen the movie. It's a great movie. Nominated for 5 Oscars. Best Actor for Carell, Best Supporting Actor for Ruffalo, and Best Director for Miller. It did not win, including Best Picture, but it came very close on it. Great film, Foxcatcher, released. Wait a minute. That's not right.
What?
I'm looking up on the Wikipedia and the dates it was released. It was not released this day in history. All right, it's a bad fact on there. Sorry, Foxcatcher's not on that. All right, next up, this day, 2009. I don't even know how to describe this movie. Kevin James.
Mall Cop?
Yeah, Paul Blart Mall Cop. I got nothing for you.
You didn't think I would have got that?
I didn't have anything else to describe it. I've never seen it.
What?
I've never seen Paul Blart Mall Cop.
That's crazy.
Does it suck? I feel like it
no.
sucks.
The first one's great. The other ones probably do. But
This is the first, just the first one.
The first
just
one,
the first one.
I remember so clearly because I went to see that for my birthday that year.
Really?
So I would have been.
Was that a good birthday?
I was 8. So yeah, I had a good time. It's a good movie.
Yeah. I mean, kind of is what it is. But yes, there's your 2 for today. Or really 1, because the other one was not actually true with Foxcatcher. So there you go. You see this morning? Odell Beckham said the Giants purposely traded him to Cleveland to die.
I think that was taken out of context.
You think so?
Yeah. Doesn't he have a Chief Wahoo hat on?
He does. He does.
I think he said that like it wasn't a post. I think he said that like pre-Browns. I don't know. It seemed like clickbait to me.
It seemed like I just saw it this morning because he was on a podcast when he said that this wasn't the best package you could have gotten for me. I don't know. I mean, so past him, Baker. It's just so far in the past. Like we are so removed from that. But really, the other thing about this offseason coming up, you're not void of the drama. So like we're wrapping up this morning here with our list of positivity. Anything else you'd like to add on the list, Ryan? Final things. Here's the list I have. You created a culture. Kevin Stefanski, and you don't have to enter the coaching search. Andrew Barry, core group of players. Dustin Hopkins, Corey Borquez, JOK, Jim Donovan back, the young players and Ronnie Hickman, DeJuan Jones, the offensive line. You went to the playoffs. You created a home field advantage. The white jerseys were great. The Steelers imploded. You played Baltimore well, and you have a coach of the year and defensive player of the year candidates. Anything else? Final thing before I send this to you and we'll tweet it out. Your list of positivity for the Cleveland Browns.
I think we did a pretty good job.
All right, that's good. I'll send that over to you at the end of the show, and we'll tweet that out. Doesn't mean that this offseason is not going to be easy. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be drama, and everything falls on Deshaun Watson right now. That's the unfortunate thing. We're going to sit around and question and debate on his shoulder and his health and the offense, and is he going to be the guy, and can you win the games with them and all that. I just know this, that you have built a really good football team here. The last piece to this puzzle is Deshaun Watson. And for no matter how you feel about him, this year is it. If it goes bad, if he's injured again, the Browns will move on from him. The good news is you still have a core group of players on this team. But Ryan, I look at it from this standpoint. You have removed the anomalies on this team. I need a receiver, yes. You're going to get Nick Chubb back. But I now look around the rest of this team with this defense, which was incredible. And the players that are here, it really is all on Deshaun Watson, for better or for worse. It really all falls on him. And if he can play to a level, again, I don't need him to be the best quarterback in the league. But if he can play to a level, you should have something to be really positive about. So it's simple, yet it's really hard that it all comes on to Deshaun Watson. Speaking of simple but hard, Tipico, baby, let's go. We're going to do a NBA boost tonight, Ryan. So here's where we're at. Tipico, download the app, use that code Fontana100 when you sign up. You deposit and bet $25, and you get $100 in bonus bets. We talked about it earlier. They have a playoff competition going on for NFL games throughout the playoffs, and the winner of that is going to get a year's worth of free bets with our friends at Tipico. We got 3 NBA games tonight, Ryan. Would you like to go on those 3 games? I've got the Nuggets. Well, I think there's more than 3 NBA games tonight. No, there's just 3. Okay, you want to do all 3?
Let's do it.
Nuggets, 76ers, Kings, Suns, Clippers, Thunder.
I really like the Thunder to cover.
The Thunder to cover, +6. Okay. Let's just pick all the games. Kings, Suns. I'm going to go Suns money line. +1 or -175. Make your pick. Nuggets, 76ers. Nuggets are a 3-point road dog. Would you like some trends on that game?
Yeah, please.
All right, hang on 1 second here. I just pulled up some trends. Let's get to it. Denver, Philly, 3 or 3.5, depending on where you get it. The projection on the website, they run the simulations. They think the 76ers win, but the Nuggets cover. Denver's 2-4 against the spread their last 6 games, but they are 11-3 straight up in their last 14. They don't play Philly all that well. They're only 4-9 against the spread their last 13 games against the 76ers. They are only 2-4 straight up in their last 6 games on the road against Philly. For the 76ers, 12-6 against the spread their last 18, 13-6 straight up in their last 19 games. Or do you want to go over-under in that game?
Yeah, why not?
228.5. Under has hit 4 out of Philly's last 5 games at home and 6 out of their last 9 games against Denver. For Denver, the over has hit 4 out of their last 6. Let me get season trends here for you. The over is 23-15 on the year for Philly, 17-23-1 for Denver. At home, 12-9 for Philly, 8-11 for the Denver on the road.
You just want to go with the Nuggets, knock the Sixers down a notch?
You want to go win there?
We can do cover, be safe.
Cover? All right, let's do it. All right, 3-leg parlay. You want me to send this to you? You got it.
I got it.
Nuggets +3.5 against the 76ers. Suns on the money line against the Kings, and the Thunder +6.5. That is already up to +460. And then Ryan, I could click on the flex parlay. And for just 2 of those things to hit, it's only -170. So again, flex parlay, new thing at Tipico. I just did a 3-leg parlay. If I just want 2 of those 3 things to hit, I could get that at -170. I'm going to save it for the boost. I want our boost to get up, and I'll jump on our boost there. But get signed up with our friends at Tipico. I love the flex parlay. I love the new reward system rocking. I love everything with our friends at Tipico. Great stuff today. Appreciate everybody joining us. A little bit late start, but the weather is what it is. So stay safe out there. Stay warm. When we come back tomorrow, we're going to do the coaching carousel. Will we have a coaching hire by tomorrow in the NFL? What do you think? Let me ask you this. Will we have a coach hire or a coach firing tomorrow by the time?
You got to think, okay, so who are the coaches that realistically could get fired? Mike McCarthy.
Tomlin could leave.
Yeah, right.
And Sirianni.
I'm going to say not by tomorrow.
Do you think we'll have a hiring by tomorrow?
No,
I agree with you. We'll wait to see on this Harbaugh stuff. Don't forget, folks, Tuesdays, Chico, Nick Shook in for the Bald, Bold Breakdown. They start that at noon at Chico Show. Of course, you can follow on Big Play on the YouTube channel and, of course, on Twitter as well. And then later today, we've got Josh Maria Cribbs with the return. If you missed last night, Blake and Greg Williams. Reflog, they had
Miles
Simmons on yesterday, and he had some really interesting things to say about the Browns. Of course, he is from Pro Football Talk, so if you missed that, go check it out at Big Play. Of course, Big Play Cleveland show is the Reflog show with Nick and Gab as well. So we got you covered. Hanford rocking last night. Of course, Blake and Greg Williams as well. We got you covered all right here on Big Play. That'll do it for us. We'll be back 9 a.m. tomorrow doing the coaching carousel. A lot more Browns. We get into it tomorrow. For Ryan Tyler, I am Matt Fontana, and as always, take it easy.